Hi everyone, it's Alain Dandurand. So I'm trying to do a long video again. I wanted to talk about the 21st century. So we've been through like many lifetimes. Excuse me. Some people go back to the 18th, like their existence started the 18th century. Some others the seven, some others 1000 BC, some 7000 BC. So there's like old souls and new souls. So overall, as humans, we've been through so much in evolution and existence historically that in the 21st century, it's so important not just to recover, but to heal completely. Um, so when you talk about healing, is it's healing the not only the body and the mind, but healing the soul. And I believe when you heal the soul, you could heal the mind and the body. So there's like the mind, which is your mentality, your psychology. You have your psyche. Your psyche is your spiritual head, right? And then you have your biological mind, which is your brain, the neurology of your head, the brain and the stem. So regardless, even if you just your existence started at the 18th century, or wherever, we've been through so much that healing is very important and recovery is very important. So if you talk about recovery, most people think it's just recovering from drugs and alcohol, but it's not. There's different forms of recovery, and what I notice is that there's six forms of recovery, and a lot of it is a type of spiritual recovery. So you have drugs and alcohol, you have anger, you have self-esteem, sex addiction, sex and love addiction, and um, finally codependency. Right. So you talk about drugs and alcohol. So what's important in terms of recovering from drugs and alcohol is that you work the 12 steps, and you do meetings, and you find a sponsor, and you do the steps, and you find a home group, and you do service, right? So when you talk about anger, what's important is that beneath the anger there's hurt. So you have to recognize that you're hurt, and somehow you have to heal that hurt, and you have to kind of like interpret things better so you don't get angry, because often people get angry because they sense a threat that's not even there in the first place, right? So if someone says something to hurt you, you don't have to take it personally, because what they say, what they do, and what they think is based on them and has nothing to do with us, right? And what I learned about codependency, what codependency is basically, as a problem, is that you search outside yourself for happiness. So happiness comes from within, making a choice to be happy every day, no matter what we're facing, no matter what our circumstances. We decide to be happy anyways. And self-esteem has a big part to do with happiness, because if you do good things, you feel good, etc. And in respect to self-esteem, a lot of people got emotionally, physically, and sexually abused, so they need to recover from that. And what I notice about sexual abuse is that it's based on how it affected you, what they took, and how to get it back, right? So, and physical abuse, maybe you want to be honest to the person how it affected you, and to come to terms with how you didn't deserve it. So there's a healing process in that. And emotional abuse is the same thing. The thing is with emotional abuse is that people are telling you mean things, they're telling you awful things, and it's not true, right? So you have to come to terms to to know what it is to overcome and heal your emotional abuse. And then you talk about sex addiction and love addiction. And what I noticed about that is that there's two problems there. Whether you're a sex addict or a love and sex addict, is that one, you feel guilty for your sexual behavior, or you feel guilty because of your dating life behavior, and you have to stop doing things that make you feel guilty. And secondly, you're harming yourself and other people because of your sexual behavior, your dating behavior, etc. So when you stop doing those two things, you basically recover from sex addiction or love and sex addiction, right? So like there's it's a far breach, right? Like you talk about self-esteem and people setting up self-esteem meetings. Maybe like in each nation there's not enough self-esteem meetings, and people need more, or they need the support, they need the spiritual union to raise self-esteem. Another thing I notice about self-esteem is that people that have low self-esteem, they have trouble loving and accepting who they are conditionally, and they have trouble loving and accepting how they are unconditionally. So you have to learn to do that, to raise your self-esteem. So there's different areas, right, where we've been. Some people are broken inside. They've been through so much, they're broken. But it's not because you're completely broken that you can't be put back together, and it's not because you're completely broken that you can't heal and recover. It's not true. You could be completely broken and overcome and heal and recover completely. Some people were completely, either they're cut inside, they're wounded, they're sore inside. So there's a way out of that too. You could heal from all of that. You could surmount it. You could realize things that could help you, right? So there's an aspect of the mind. It's very rational. It's very logical, but sometimes intellect doesn't do it, and intellect doesn't do the job. You could be a very philosophical person, you could be a very intelligent person, but you're having problems in your life, you're having trouble in your life, maybe you're not healing, right? You're not healing, you're spiritually, emotionally, you're not healing psychically, right? People have been brokenhearted, right? Most people at an early enough age have been brokenhearted. And what I notice about being brokenhearted is you developed a concept and an image of the other person that they're the one for you, and they turn out not to be. So what hurts is that you thought they were the one for you. So you fell in love, and then after a while of dating that person, seeing that person, or being married to that person, you realize they're not the one for you. And that's what creates the heartbreak. So the logic would be, well, okay, I thought this person was the one, and I was mistaken, and I forgive myself, and now I could see what it really is, and I'm okay. So it hurt. Your heartbreak hurts for a little bit, but then you overcome it. Eventually it stops hurting. And the thing with heartbreaks too is when you're seeing someone, or you're in a serious relationship, or you're married, when you have sex with them constantly, your spirits intertwine. So when you detach from the other person, it hurts to detach spiritually. But eventually, if you're not seeing them, you're gonna detach from the other person, right? And there's another thing too, like people say, well, they're the one, but listen, my the way I see it, like we're born right in this lifetime, and we go through what we go through, and then we eventually die. We all die, right? But why would it just end there? Like why would we be alive for a lifetime and just die and extinct? It doesn't make sense. to me, it makes more sense that we have other lifetimes. So the one, when you say a person is the one, then it's like you're saying forever and ever they're the one for me. But you could have like different existential best friends. So when I talk about existence, I'm talking about all your lifetimes in the past and in the future. That's your existence. So in between your lifetimes, you have the afterlife. Some people have to go through hell in the afterlife. Some people they have a pleasant afterlife, right? But the one. So in your existence, you can have different existential friends. Secondly, you could have different existential best friends. Third of all, you could have different existential soulmates. And then finally, if you're really close to another person, the opposite sex that you have sex with in existence, then they may be, if they're the one you're closest to in existence, it's your existential soul bride or your existential soul husband, right? But it doesn't mean it's forever. Like even with an existential husband or an existential soul bride, you could have different partners in between and stuff like that. So you have to be rational. People listen. I'm talking about like dating, right? So marriage, serious relationship, dating. You see different people in existence, and most people they don't just see one. They don't just date one person their whole existence. There's so many people on the planet, right? So you have to be like rational about that. And when I was talking about evolution, planet Earth, maybe planet Earth is the first planet of evolution. So I was saying that we're insects, dinosaurs, and then there was the ice age, and then the bacteria in the ocean. That was like a fish to a lizard, fish to a lizard walking on land, to a monkey, to an ape, to a human. Apparently, according to anthropology, that's what it is. But let's say planet Earth is our first stage of evolution, so we go on to higher evolution. People believe in aliens, all kinds of stuff. Maybe there's a standard type of alien, but there's a higher evolution, right? And maybe higher evolution could help us as humans because we're not that smart, we're not that intelligent, we're not that bright, we don't know what to do. And like Brené Brown says, she's an author and she has a psychology doctorate on vulnerability and shame. And she talks about how all human beings are imperfect, so it's normal we feel shame and we're vulnerable, and it gives us a chance to change, right? So we could change for the better. So when we talk about the highest intelligence, like there's a girl in your class that's the most intelligent, or there's a teacher that knows the most about philosophy, or there's a basketball player that's the tallest, like 6'7" or 6'8", whatever. So there's always a highest everything. There's a lowest everything, like the lowest volume water stream or like river, right? So you talk about the highest intelligence. Okay, so maybe there's one human on the planet that's the most intelligent one. Okay, or maybe in the universe there's someone that's the most intelligent in the universe. So we're talking about highest intelligence. And then you talk about intelligence. Some people are very intelligent, but they're criminals, they're psychopaths, or sociopaths. So it doesn't really help anyone. So people say, like, they talk about God and the Lord, and they say like, well, choose something that makes sense to you. So maybe there's something out there, some kind of phenomena or some kind of intelligence that could guide us and help us on our journey in this lifetime and in our existence, right? So for everyone, it's different. So you say, well, the highest intelligence in the universe helps me. Okay. Well, you ask the person, is it a bad being that helps you? And no, I feel it's a loving being that that helps me and it makes my life better or whatever, right? I mean, my concept of the highest intelligence, like a lord, it could be something feminine, masculine. To me, it's something with the right. It's someone with the right virtues, values, morals, and principles, and they understand things that others don't understand, and they're able. It's a loving force, an omniscient force, the most powerful force, and I believe like purity, innocence, and sacredness has more power in the universe. So this is my concept of like a lord, right? Of the universe, and anyone could resort to that. You might not understand it because it's hard to understand, and you're a human, you're imperfect, you're not as intelligent, but you could be guided and it could help you, right? So people meditate and they try to align themselves with the universe. And some people don't believe in God, but they believe in intelligence in the universe. They believe that the universe has like a type of intelligence itself, or a type of order, right? So it's like maybe like in a federation, in a nation, the federal law brings order in the nation somewhat, right? Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about. So basically, I'm talking about healing, recovery, and I'm talking about well-being, and I'm talking, and eventually I'm going to talk about making a difference, right? So if we talk about truth, it's we all have different values, right? Like some people value having like a really nice expensive car. Some people value having like good relationships with people. Some people value having like being successful and making a lot of money. Some people value being fit, physically fit. Some people, we have we have different values, and for me, truth is a big value. For us to see, feel, and know the truth is something very valuable to me, because it helps me find my way. It helps me know what to do, and it makes my life easier. And it also resolves my problems, right? So we all got problems and difficulties. Some people have worse suffering, worse problems, worse difficulties, but it doesn't mean that they cannot get better and their life cannot get better. Some people, they give up. Some people, they commit suicide. They blow their head off. Some people, they get the right treatment, the right therapy, the right specialists, the right recovery, and they're on their way, right? So it's like my concept of that is like, don't give up. In the very worst, in a second, everything could change. Like there's infinite possibilities. You're alone at home. You don't know what to do, and you're like going crazy, and you're suffering a lot. In a split second, everything could change. You get a phone call. You get an email. You go walk on the street. You figure out like your dream job, how to get it. Like anything could change any second, and there's infinite possibilities. So it's like a kind of open mindedness, a kind of like hope, right? You talk about religious faith, and people are like, well, fuck, why did I suffer so much if God is taking care of me? Or like, if God is there, then how come girls get attacked by psychopaths? Or if like God is there, how come that street guy died? Or if God is there, like why did that woman die of cancer, right? So there's like different levels of faith, right? So maybe you're not investing your faith in the right area, or maybe the faith you want to have is not a religious kind of faith, or maybe you want to trust that there's order in the universe, there's intelligence in the universe. Maybe you want to trust that the people coming into your life are supposed to be in your life, and there's a reason why they're in your life, kind of like your soul is attracting them. Like my view is that our spirit my view is that our spirit creates our life. So it's like whatever comes into our life, it's like our spiritual desire magnetizes it into our life. So you could kind of trust that. So you could trust different things, like like the movie Star Wars. Some people believe like Shinobi's a kind of lord. Some people believe Jesus Christ is their Lord. Some people believe like nature's their Lord. Some people believe the whole universe is. Some people believe the spirit of the universe is it, or the highest being, the most like powerful being in the universe is their Lord. So there's all kinds of stuff. It doesn't. It's like maybe you're investing your faith in the wrong thing, or maybe you're investing your faith in something that doesn't even exist in the first place. Well, I got hurt a lot in my life and I suffered a lot. And if God was there, then why did I suffer? Maybe you don't understand yet. Or maybe you don't know where it's leading you to, or maybe you don't know how it's going to serve you well. So you talk about karma and you talk about suffering, that there's a reason for it, that it's bringing you to better things, and maybe somehow it's making you better, maybe you had to suffer a lot because you have a higher purpose. Maybe like with that suffering, you're going to help people, you're going to be more compassionate, or you're going to get into like you're going to open up a company that's going to help a lot of people. Whatever it is, right? Because I heard a lot of people uh, in this lifetime they're talking about, well, I don't know if anything like that exists because like I don't see any reason why I had to go through that and why certain people have to go. It's hard to tell like you know it's hard to tell like why we have to suffer, why we feel pain, why we feel sad, why we have difficulties and problems, but maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe it's leading to better things somehow. There is tragedies, but it doesn't mean that maybe in our mind we're seeing it as something bad, and it doesn't have to be something bad. So maybe what's important is how we interpret things or how we reason with things. Is okay, the person died young and they suffered before they died, but maybe like their next lifetime is going to be really amazing. It's like, so let's say the person had like 20 lifetimes and two of them like were really bad, but it molded them and it transformed them and it changed them to become not only what they become, which is better, but they became more of what they wanted to be, the person, the being that they wanted to be. It allowed them to have more of the existence that they wanted to have, right? So maybe it's not a bad thing, and maybe it's the way we judge that's bad, or maybe like we shouldn't judge each other at all. Like maybe as human beings, we're not in a position to judge each other or to judge other people. Maybe we could judge ourselves because, well, okay, well, I don't like this, but like we don't have to necessarily be hard on ourselves. We don't have to be mean to ourselves. We don't have to hate ourselves. Like, well, I noticed like I have 4 flaws and I fucking hate myself. Yeah, but maybe you don't have to like you're. Maybe it's normal that you have like 4 flaws or 8 flaws, or the guy has like 25 flaws, right? Like, I don't believe we're in a position to judge other people because they're people. We're all people, right? Like people have a concept that they're better than other people, that they're worse, but it's a concept. We're a whole human race, different ethnicities, religions, different jobs, different experiences, and like even it's different degrees of like different things, right? Like so some people have a lot of money, they have a lot of luxurious things, and maybe you don't. But why are you comparing yourself? And let's say like you want to have more in your life. Why don't you write down like 4 steps to have like more of what you want? I notice a lot of girls compare themselves to other girls. It's like, well, she's beautiful like this, and I notice that the girl saying that she's very beautiful too. It's a lot of girls compare, but why are they comparing themselves to other girls? You're not supposed to be like other people, and other people are not supposed to be like you. Like even if the person has more than you, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Maybe like your value is not to have like $5.6 billion. Maybe your value is like you don't know your spirit. What it wants is a good, healthy relationships. You want like enough financial freedom. You want like the right job and the right girlfriend or the right boyfriend. It's like, and if people make you feel bad because you're not like them, you don't have to listen to them. No one's in a position to tell you how you should be and what you should do with your life. Like the young students, they go to their parents say you have to study this and that. You have to decide for yourself what's good for you. And you have to trust yourself. You have to be loyal to yourself. Well, this person's mean to me. Well, stop seeing them. Well, this is what I really want to do with my life, but I feel like it's weird. No, that's what you got to do. People can't dictate what you should do and how you should be and this and that. And they make you feel small and they make you feel bad. They don't have the right to do that. You don't have to listen to them. And secondly, you don't have to take it personal. I'm a sensitive guy and people tell me things and I get hurt, but then I put it in right perspective. I say, like, I just don't have to listen. This is my life. I'll do what I want with my life, right? Some people, they try to control the guy tries to control the girl. He's always getting mad at his girlfriend. He's possessive, and it's like eventually she realizes, well, the reason why he tries to control me is for sex. It's like he's trying to keep me all to himself for sex. Then people have like a stigma and a taboo that girls should only be with one guy. Why can't a girl have different boyfriends at the same time? A lot of girls, they look for a serious guy, but why don't you just have fun dating? And even if you have sex with those guys, you protect yourself, everything, and you have a good like friendship with those guys. What's wrong with that? It's a stigma and a taboo. Well, she's a whore. Why is she a whore? She wants to explore her dating life. She wants to explore her sexuality. She has 2, 3 boyfriends. Who cares? They can't tell you what to do. They can't control you to keep you for sex. It's too barbaric. It's too egotistical. And a lot of them are chauvinistic too. It's not any better. The guy, he's a good-looking guy. He attracts girls that are mean to him, right? And he doesn't understand why he's always attracting girls that are mean to him. So then eventually he has to look inside himself. What is it about me that attracts these kind of girls, right? Because there's something going on. Maybe he has like a self-esteem problem. He has a good job, a nice car, but he's always attracting the same type of shallow girl. So then you might want to look at something there, right? Marilyn Williamson, she wrote a book, A Return to Love. So it's like returning back to our origin, right? Like Quebecers. The Quebec culture is a very beautiful culture. Like when you get to know the people, like returning Quebec to its origin, to its youth, U.S. Americans, despite all the corruption, returning to their origin, to their youth. And Marilyn Williamson, A Return to Love. So when we're returning, look, if we want to be infinite, if we want to exist forever, we have to be young inside, man. If we're young inside, even you're 67 years old, you still look good because you're young inside. Like your body is in accordance to your spirit, right? So if you're young inside, your body's going to look good. Why can't we just look good forever? Different lifetimes, evolution, existence, right? So she talks about a return to love. So origin, I call it youth, origin, return to love. And she says that to attract the right partner, you have to make a list of the 10 things you want like 10 traits you want your partner to have. And she says, you have to show up. You have to have those 10 traits to attract that partner, right? Because what I noticed, James Redfield, he has a book called The Celestine Prophecy. And he says there's always a reason why people are in your life. And he explains that the, the people that come into your life are always where you are, right? So you attract people not that similar as you, but where you are. So you're at the same place. And I think the reason why that happens is we could help each other and we could develop together and we could all become more of who we really want to be. We could all have more of the existence that we want to have, right? So you talk about compatibility. And me, like, I was talking about how truth is a value that I cherish, right? Okay, so my belief is that if you know the truth, you're not going to suffer, no matter what it is. The reason why we suffer is because we don't know the truth. And then when we know the truth, our suffering ceases to exist. But what I noticed, like throughout my life and existence, is that I know more and more what the truth is. It's like I have to discover it. And then people will come into my life and they'll say something. I'm like, yeah, that resonates through me. That feels true to me. And it's kind of like a signal in the heart, right? Like you know the truth in your heart. And girls are really good with that too. Like if they're talking to a guy, they feel his heart. Like they know like what he means and what he's saying, right? And then there's like the eyes, right? They talk about how the eyes is the windows to the soul. So when you look at someone, you know everything about them. But some people they doubt themselves, right? You might not know in detail where you could like write a book about a person, but you know when you look in their eyes, you know who they are and their gestures, their mannerisms. You know how they are. So then you talk about compatibility. Well, okay, well I always date these kind of guys and I always get hurt or like I'm having the same experiences with my girlfriend. So you talk about compatibility, right? And like what are you looking for? And if you're not finding it, then how come you're not attracting it into your life? What's blocking you from attracting the person that you want into your life? Or maybe the person's too fussy or they're too judgmental and like, well, you have like a pretty good person in your life. You have like a pretty good friend in your life. And some people they can't be alone. So I was talking about codependency. And if you're not able to be alone, you'll never be able to be with other people. Because you're always going to need other people to be happy or to be like fulfilled, right? So like I don't know if the person has to be alone for 2 years, but like they have to be alone long enough. It's different for different people. Maybe 2 days here, 2 weeks there, 2 months there. Like you know, it's a where you listen. The way I see it is like you have to be alone enough to be able to be comfortable alone. Because then you always need other people to like satisfy you, right? Then there's different levels of fulfillment. Like what fulfills me doesn't necessarily fulfill other people. You know, the girl she wants like a challenging guy, or the guy wants like a challenging girl. And for me, I don't like being challenged that much by my female friends. I like to get along, and it's sync, and it's close, it's intimate. But if she sees like a truth about me, that's good. That's going to help me. I want to hear. I want to hear it. It's like I don't want to take it too personal. It's like, well, yeah, you're right. I know what you mean. Okay, and so I'm talking like at first I'm talking about recovery and healing. So there's something that's not working with prisons. You talk about criminals. They go in there for like 7 years or 15 years or 20 years, and like, why are they in there in their cell, like just waiting? What are they waiting for? So there's a treatment absence, or there's an absence of treatment. So then, how do we do that? Maybe we don't want to call it prisons or jails anymore. Maybe we want to call it criminal centers. So the criminals, they go in and they receive treatment, and then they go out. And then someone will say, well, yeah, but he killed two people that didn't deserve to die, and he only went in for 2 years. But like, if he's not a criminal anymore when he walks out, why would you care? Why would that be a bad thing? Well, he's a fucking psychopath. He raped and brutalized and murdered 16 girls. Yeah, but if he doesn't have that problem anymore when he walks out, why would that bother you? All right. So I'm talking about criminal centers. So we need better treatment because the criminals, they have a problem. Whether it's some type of psychopathy, some kind of sociopath, a lack of conscience. They were like severely abused. They're insane. He has a form of like psychosis or schizophrenia. Whatever it is, it's like we're not offering the right treatment. They're just in there. Like the guy's in there for 15 years. And today it's more common that girls go to prison, right? Girls are, you have like female police. I'm assuming there's female militants. There's females that work for FBI, etc., right? So we're talking about treatment. We're not treating the criminals. So it could be the better psychologists that specialize in forensic psych, criminology. Then maybe you'll have a social worker. It could be a psychiatrist, like a program that the criminal has to go through. He has to speak to different people. Maybe he has to read certain books. Maybe he has like certain steps he has to do. So like eventually we have to find the right treatment for criminals because they go in there and they're just like waiting to get out, right? So it doesn't. And then when you talk about psychiatry, hospitals, psych wards, most today they call it hospitals. So if you have a mental illness, you have to go to the hospital, and sometimes you have to stay there 3 weeks or 3.5 months. And there's maximum security hospitals, right? So listen, I don't have much to. I'm not like a biologist, or I'm not like a neurologist, or I'm not like a. I know enough about chemistry, physics, mathematics, but like I'm not even a psychiatrist. But one thing I could say is that what I noticed about mental illness is that the neurotransmitter holes that release the chemicals is dysfunctional. Like it all has to do with neurotransmitter holes, like dopamine, serotonin, gamma. I think there's two endorphins. I forget there's two other ones. And what I noticed is studying that is that the hole is too big, or it's too small, or the liquids are not coming out enough, or they're coming out too much. So then, like, someone could find some kind of solvent or medication to like cure that, right? So, you know what I mean? It's like yeah. So someone maybe doesn't go to the hospital. They go to a psychiatric center and they get treated. And when they walk out after 8 weeks, they don't have a mental illness anymore. And maybe like a mental illness has to do with sociology now. Maybe like the reason why we have a mental illness is not just a genetic disposition. Maybe the reason we have a mental illness is that sociologically we were affected by other people and other people were affected by us. So maybe there's a doctrine that needs to be made about sociology in reference to mental illness, biology, neurology, etc. A new form of psychiatry. Listen, they treat cancer now, okay? And I heard a couple of people, they overcame their cancer. I think there was 6 people I heard overcame their, but eventually we have to get stronger with the cure. We have to reinforce the cure. We have to have a more efficient cure where it's like a vaccine and the cancer goes away right away and doesn't come back. Maybe some people are too busy spending time on certain things when certain other things are more important. You know, I was talking about poverty worldwide. Some people, like, they have trouble eating. They don't have food, or like some people, they haven't had a home for a long time, or they just like they have no life. You know, so maybe some people have to place more importance on other things than what they're placing importance on now, right? And then I was talking about global government, a global system where we work together and we nail these solutions, these resolutions. Like, okay, we've been having the same problems for a long time. Now let's resolve it. Like, what is it we're doing that we should not be doing? What is it we're not doing that we should be doing? Because there's a fucking serious problem here, right? And people are suffering, people are dying. Okay? So you talk about global warming. As I understand it, the southern part of the world is always hot. Look, the reason why the southern part of the world is always hot is because the biggest star in the middle of our galaxy is a fireball that heats up planet Earth. And planet Earth is the closest planet to the sun. Okay, so look, I wouldn't be able to turn the sun into a white sphere of light. I wouldn't be able to like magically turn the sun into a white light sphere. I don't know how to do that. I don't know if there's beings eventually that could do that. I don't know how to do that. Okay, but the planet, she's a little planet. Hey, it's the second smallest planet in our solar system. The smallest one is Pluto. Okay, so she's burning, and there's volcanoes with lava coming out. It's like she has an STD. The little one. She doesn't know what she's burning, and she has like an STD. It's like a penis that's really hot, right? Like when the blood is too hot, it's STDs, like chlamydia, gonorrhea. She doesn't know. Like me, the sun's going inside her. There's volcanoes. It's the southern part of it, so they call it global warming. So like eventually we have to resolve that problem because it's our planet. And maybe she doesn't know what to do. Even maybe, let's say, like the spirit of planet Earth, her IQ is 2,000. Maybe she doesn't know what to do, right? Maybe like God's IQ is 5,000 or 7,000, and we have to work it out for ourselves because it's our planet, right? So I don't know how to do that. What I understand is we have the planet Earth and we have the hemisphere around it, and there's like plates, like satellite plates. If we could get a kind of magnetic pole to bring the cold, like in the southern part of the world, it'd be so much better for us. Like snow, ice, and cold in Africa, snow, ice, and cold in South America, snow, ice, and cold in Australia. Like somehow, like we figure out how to make the temperature and weather there go there. Like there's some people they're very intelligent. They understand like the functions of planet Earth, like the matter of planet Earth, the ecosystem, nature, the five elements. Like so some people are really well educated, and maybe like they go work with other people, and we could get this magnet thing happening where we put cold in the southern part of the world. It's very important because like we don't want the our planet to burn. And it's sad because it's our first stage of evolution, and like we burned ourselves, you know. I know some people they forecast the weather. They're able to meditate the weather. Then we have like pollution, right? Pollution is a problem. It goes into the ozone layer. There's already like I noticed like in stores they don't sell like plastic bags anymore, and like plastic in the ocean is detrimental for the ocean. Maybe it's not good to have dead bodies under the ground. If people are able to like there's cemeteries, but maybe people are able to zone some kind of zoner where dead bodies are under the ground. Maybe it pollutes the planet too much, and then the bodies in the ocean, rivers, and lakes. You have to get it out. Maybe it's not good to have like dead flesh or and underneath. Then there's what the water. Like you have like the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific, the Southern, the Northern Ocean, and then maybe like we could like have like huge aircrafts that dump like a type of chloride or some kind of substance that wouldn't kill the mammals and the fishes in the ocean, and like you could just clean the ocean. Activists that know how to resolve pollution everywhere, because it is another problem, right? It's very toxic for our planet. Some people like they had sewers underneath for a long sewers, canals, and pipelines underneath the ground for a long time, and like they're not washing like the metal of the pipes and the pipelines and the sewers. Like maybe we have to wash underneath like all the pipes, and construction workers are able to take the bodies underneath the ground and burn them, like even torch the skeleton. So it's like that. It's all like a kind of like excrements, like residue. That's not good for our planet. And then like another thing I noticed is like now like people are innovating more. Like cars have like some cars are strapped to like solar energy. Like we know gas and like fuel and like what do you call that? Oil is not good, right? And let's say there's too much gas and oil inside the earth. Like the sun is right there. The like the biggest star in the middle of our galaxy is like burning on like the planet that has oil and gas. We have to watch out. Yeah, we have to start like doing things the right way, man. We don't want to like die, right? And we don't want her to die either. Maybe it's like all like cars. Maybe like because there's like when you strap the car to solar energy, it's like a wire and all this like complicated stuff. Maybe you just like charge the car. You have like a little box that charges it, and like it runs for like 23 days, and then you charge it again. We have to become more efficient, more efficacious. And then maybe like what we need after is white light to charge the car, which is better than solar energy, right? But like we have a lot of vehicles everywhere, trucks, cars, whatever, buses. They're running on gas and oil. Like it's going everywhere in the hemisphere. Okay, so initially I was talking about recovery and healing. That's just like how important it is in the 21st century for us to recover and heal. And I was talking about well-being, right? I'd, another thing I could say, like it, when I meditate, okay, so like on average, every day I meditate like 41 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, whatever, but like on average, it's like 41 minutes every day. And I stop thinking. I don't think. So like I'll use my temples to sway away thoughts. It's like thoughts like kind of derive, like come in. I'll sway away thoughts and like I'll have like an empty mind. So let's say in 41 minutes on average I'll get like 8 thoughts. But like during my day, like when I walk around in public or go do my things, I don't think. I just look at people. I look at the environment and I focus on where I'm going and what I have to do. I believe the problem is in the mind. I believe the reason why we think is because we got scared in our life, we got hurt. So our thinking is a mechanism for us not to be hurt anymore. You could sort out things like make a plan, organize things, etc. Right? Like so some thinking is okay, but most of the time, no. I think the problem as human animals is that we think. So it develops all kind of psychological disorders, mental disorders. I believe we're not smart enough to think. So for me, it's better to observe the environment, to observe our life, to observe people. And like when you stop thinking, your mind is empty, right? So the universe transcends. The universe puts into your mind. So then you're like, oh, okay. And you just feel better because when you're thinking all the time, you feel bad. And when I notice, like in public, like when I look at people around me, they have their head down. They're always thinking about their problems. And the reason why I believe we think about our problems is because we got hurt in the past. And I believe our humanity is in a state of fear. Like there's a collective psychosis happening in the world. We believe things that aren't true. And we have interludes. I don't know. I don't know if I want to talk about that. It's like someone will say something to us and it'll scare us. But the reason why we get scared is because it's not the truth. Like I believe like if you knew what the truth was, you wouldn't care. You'd be okay. You would feel good. And if we don't know certain truths, well, we could work on getting to know what those truths are. You talk about empirical evidence or scientific proof. Maybe we could find more proof and more truth. But I could only talk for myself. Like most of the time, I don't think. I just do what I have to do. I do what I think is best. I try to do the next right thing. I talk to people. I talk to strangers. For me, it's really fun to talk to strangers because I don't know anything about them. Okay, well, what are you going to do next, Nane, for your occupancy? So I learned to stop thinking in meditation. And it's super fun because I feel more free during the day because I'm not thinking. Michael Michael A. Singer, he's an author, right? He wrote I forget his two books. The Surrender Experiments, A Tender Soul. I forget, Tethered Soul, something like that. I think it was that. He gave a speech in front of a class, right? And he was talking about how the only reason why we get thoughts is because of our experience. Because our thoughts is composed of images and visuals of our experience. So then, like, it goes back to what I was saying. Like, my belief is that we think because we're scared, unless like you're trying to resolve something, organize something. And another thing I understand about that too is that we have our body, right? And in our body we have our soul, but our soul could have an aura, like our soul could spread and stuff like that. What I believe is that our soul has all our existential experience, and the difference is that we're not awake and conscious enough to remember our past lifetimes. Maybe like in our next stage of evolution, when we become aliens, we could remember everything in our past, like even when we're dinosaurs, because we're ready to remember. And then like we could kind of know why it happened and like what to do now. Okay, so the last the last part I want to touch on. So I was talking about just recap. Let's talk about recovery healing. Then I was talking about well-being and making a difference in the world, like because we do have pretty serious problems in the world, right? So the last aspect I want to touch on is in terms of well-being is holistic therapy. And as I understand, as I know it, there's holistic massages, and what they do is they're able to work with the energy of a being, of a body, to heal them. But you have to be like awake and conscious enough to do that. And some people believe they bring in divine energy to heal the being, right? So it's like a new form of therapy. You know, I was talking about like there's three types of medication. There's native, Asian, and Western. So this is like new treatment also, holistic treatment. They do Reiki and touch. Excuse me. There's some people like they might be overweight and they might look weird. Okay, like me, I don't see, I never see anyone that looks ugly. I notice some people have excessive fat cells, and some people look weird. But I like different shapes, different forms, different people, right? But there's some people they haven't been touched enough. And if you like you touch their head and you touch them, it awakens them. It awakens their body, and it could maybe activate different parts of the brain too. So even just touch, like me, I'm an affectionate person. I'm 100% hetero. Like I only have sex with females. I don't activate sexually for guys, but I'm very affectionate, even with guys. I'm very affectionate. I like touching people, right? Not sexually abusing people, but touching people. So it's like a new treatment, holistic treatment. And some people they know what they're doing, and maybe there's more people there that are waking up to what it is, or they're going to school for that. Okay. And a lot of healing recovery is like crying. Like even if you're a guy, man, you need to cry. It's like you're crying because you're healing, and most of the time when we're healing, it's because we know the truth. It's like it strikes a nerve, right? Like, oh my God, I'm so happy. Like, I realize that. I'm so happy that I know that now. And you start crying, right? So someone doesn't get touched often, or like they might not have sex often with other people, and and when they do it, it affects them a lot. They might cry because they never experienced that type of intimacy. So I think like even that aspect, it's important for us to do that, just to be affectionate with each other, but not affectionate to the point where you're making the person uncomfortable. It's like you have to kind of size it and sense it. Okay, well, I'm going to touch him a bit. It's easy. It's not homophobic. And sometimes you just touch them a bit, and you can feel they're uncomfortable. You don't want to make them too uncomfortable, right? I'm just trying to. I think I finished my speech. What time is it now? It's a minute 2 seconds. My last one was like, sorry, not a minute. It's an hour and 2 minutes. The other one was like an hour or two. I'm just trying to remember if I covered everything making a difference. Yeah, yeah. If more material comes up, I'll just do another video. Anyways, thank you for logging in, for watching. I love you all. I wish you the best. Until next time.